Hey guys, and welcome back to another bite size and another interesting topic.
Today we are taking you on board our whale watching tour in Mirissa. This is a part of our recent trip to Sri Lanka that we haven't shown you yet. Wow, this is amazing. Look at that, Thais. See the fish hanging onto... Wow! Woo!
Yes, Sri Lanka has one of the most beautiful and diverse wildlife in the world, and we've been very fortunate to see loads of it during our crazy road trip.
We are also going to recap our whale watching tour we did on the opposite side of the island in Trincomalee, and we're going to be talking to a marine biologist who knows much more about the effects that whale watching tours is having on the animals. Hopefully we can give you all the information you need on whether taking a tour in Sri Lanka is something you want to do. So let's roll the intro and start this really interesting Budgeteers Bitesize. Just before we get into it, a quick mention that Skillshare are giving you guys free access to their online learning platform. Stay tuned to the end of this video, guys, because you are not gonna want to miss this one. Enjoy!
Since Mirissa is Sri Lanka's most famous place for whale watching, it is known for getting lots of visitors desperate to see these giant majestic creatures. So, let's pick up the action first thing in the morning as Paddy and I make our way to the jetty, where we board our large boat, sign a few safety warnings, and get served free breakfast and coffee before we set off into the deep.
It's quite a different experience already.
Yeah.
Normally we have to go full to ourselves. This we're sharing with at least 30 others.
At least, and it's not full yet. Seasick tablets? No, we're okay, but thank you very much. That's nice. But they offer you seasick tablets. To be honest, the hospitality on board was really on point, and as we headed out to sea, we saw about a dozen other boats that were also busy boarding and getting ready to head out. The price of this tour we negotiated down to 7,000 rupees per person, which is just under $40 US. The price includes your transfer to the boat, breakfast, as well as about 3 hours on board. They can't always guarantee sightings, but all of the staff on board seemed very relaxed and positive that we would see some whales. It took about 1 hour to get out to the areas where the whales typically visit, and we made our way there along with all the other boats. The pace was really slow and steady, although even just that small swell was proving difficult even for some people. But it was really nice to see that the staff were there to apply relief and medication if requested. And soon enough, we were starting to see whales in the distance, so it was surely only a matter of time before we got close enough to really see the scale of these massive mammals.
Okay, we just saw a few blue whales popping up out of the water. There was actually multiple, I think there were at least 3. They were a bit smaller than the ones we saw in Trincomalee, but at least we saw a couple. They were way too far away though to even attempt to film it. We were literally, I think, a kilometer away.
But he's being very quiet. But these moments in between whale sightings are quite peaceful, and everyone's just eyes peeled, looking and hoping that the whale will appear. The engine's on low, and we're waiting to see if he pops back up in the area. Obviously, all the other boats are here with us. We're a little bit bunched together, but we're in a big space here, so he can pop up anywhere, we don't know where. So everyone's got their eyes peeled, and hopefully somewhere in this area they'll come up in about 5 minutes for some more oxygen, and we can get a nice little peek at the biggest animal in the world.
For the next 30 minutes or so, we just stayed together with all the other boats, forming a big circle of vessels that seemed about 1 kilometer in diameter. The idea seemed to be that whales would rise up for air and the nearest boat would get to enjoy the closest encounter. We saw about 3 to 4 whales rise up to the surface during this time, but unfortunately for us, we were never the lucky boat nearest to the whales. Instead, we just kept our circular shape and hoped that a whale would surface close to our boat. And after another 30 minutes or so of waiting, we had a change of fortune.
They've come up really close to our boat. Oh my gosh. Guys, this is awesome. Hello, whales. We're really lucky. We're the nearest boat this time. Yeah, it's awesome. Looks like a mother and a calf. And they're going really slowly today. They're not going fast at all. Did they go down? No, they're still up. Wow, they're like practically not even moving. They're just kind of at the surface. Wow. Yeah, they're almost stationary. Just over here. Wow. Oh, I want to jump in and swim with them now. This is... Wow, 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 wow.
We just slowed the engine down.
Now it is raining.
Oh, look at the tail. And another one right here. They're literally going like walking pace. Slower than walking pace.
Yeah, we've stopped.
Yeah, our engine is off now. Everybody's coming. But we are here first. Wow, this is amazing. Look at that, guys. See the fish hanging onto... Wow! Woo! Away, amazing! Bye-bye, whales.
Thank
Wow.
you. What a show.
High five on that one. That was really peaceful. Oh, there's somewhere down there now.
Okay.
Woo!
So good. Awesome.
He left me hanging. We had the best view of the boat.
So blue has 140 tons. So weight.
Yeah, 140 tons.
Not easy. No, they'll be hitting.
Look at the hole that it's made. Wow, they are literally just chilling.
Being flat, yeah.
So as you can see, the Mirissa whale tour turned out to be pretty nice, and we didn't seem to affect the animals too much. This was certainly a contrasting experience to our whale watching tour in Trincomalee, which we had thought would have been actually a much more natural way to see these animals. But as you may have seen in our episode during our main Sri Lankan series, where we documented our travels around the entire island, we actually had a pretty mixed experience.
Yeah, our boat was much smaller and there were only 3 or 4 other boats in the vast ocean. So on paper, the experience should have been much better. However, the ride was terrible and our backs and legs were sore for days after banging around on the waves for 6 long hours. We did get close to some blue whales, but we also felt like we were harassing and chasing the whales with our loud engines. And in the back of our minds, it's fair to say we weren't too happy about that. So much so that, as you can see, Lena was put off by whale watching completely and decided to skip the whale watching in Mirissa altogether as a result. If you want to know more about what happened during our tour in Trincomalee, please watch the episode of our travel series linked below. For now, however, let's sum up our whale watching experiences and talk to a professional who can inform us more on this important issue.
So clearly I did not go on the Mirissa whale tour. When we went in Trincomalee, I don't know if the whales were affected. It wasn't necessarily all terrible. However, I didn't like that we were chasing the whales and maybe it didn't affect them at all. I mean, they're giant, so probably not, but it was a feeling that I had, and it just didn't feel right. When something becomes such a big tourist attraction, no matter what it is or where it is, it can lead to exploitation. And so for that reason, and just that gut feeling that I had in Trincomalee, I didn't really feel comfortable doing the Mirissa whale watching.
So for me, actually, the whale watching experience was the number one thing on my bucket list, because I have been so fascinated by whales since I was a kid. I have literally books of them, books and books about whales at home. And when we were in Trincomalee, I thought that experience was very adventurous, being on that little boat with only a few other boats, chasing those whales, hoping that we would be able to jump in next to one as it breached for air, but that experience did leave me a little bit unsatisfied because we weren't able to jump in next to them. In the back of my mind, it was sort of a slight worry that we were harassing them, but you just couldn't tell, or I didn't really know what the whales were thinking. I think deep down they were just doing their thing, but I don't know. But overall, my experience was positive.
Yeah, obviously, as the budgeteers, we're a bit skeptical when it comes to big tourist attractions. And honestly, those whale watching tours seemed like a really big tourist trap when we first came here, because they tried to sell it to us on the beach with these big tourist signs. But I was actually really glad that we gave it a try, because it turned out to be a really nice experience, both very different, like a really thrilling adventure in Trincomalee and a really chill experience in Mirissa, both very different. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity to have seen these beautiful, majestic animals in one of the few places in the world where you can actually go and see them. But because tourism here in Sri Lanka is only 10 years old and it's growing extremely fast, I am concerned as well. I think it needs more limitations and more strict regulations.
So those are our thoughts regarding our experiences doing whale watching tours in Sri Lanka. But as promised, let's bring in a marine biologist to give us a little more information and to answer some questions that we still have. You may recognize him. He is a great friend to the show. It's Eric, our Couchsurfing host from Series 2. Eric hosted us in La Paz, Mexico, where he was finishing his studies in marine biology. He was super kind and very aware of the need to conserve his local marine environment. He even gave us shark DNA as a leaving gift when we left his home in La Paz. So you guys can rest assured that he has the ocean's best interest in mind.
This is DNA of a shark, and I'm gonna give you because I'm a scientist, I'm a marine biologist, and I really love working with sharks and with genetics, and this is for you guys.
Now one day I can make a human shark baby. Hey!
Eric!
How are you?
Look at my t-shirt.
Yeah, no bad day in Baja.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. We are doing a really good job in Baja right now.
Yeah? We went and did the whale watching in Mirissa.
Yeah, Mirissa is a hotspot in Sri Lanka. It's a really important place in Sri Lanka, and there's a resident group of blue whales right there. They stay for the entire life.
Is that bad? Or?
It is bad for them, not for us. It's bad for them because if you're a large species in the ocean, especially in the ocean, your environment doesn't change at all by years, okay? If it's super crowded by humans, the humans can start to alter your environment, your home.
Is there any evidence out there to suggest that whale watching changes or affects their natural behavior?
Yeah, but we don't know if it's a long term. We see that as short term. For example, the whale watching, if it's super crowded, they are too shy, they don't want to appear in the surface, so they need to put more effort, to keep the breath under the water. They affect the feeding behavior, they affect the pathways, they affect the behavior in the water, the communication with other whales. For example, the blue whale is the largest animal in the world, okay? And they produce the highest sound in the animal kingdom. When the boats are around the blue whale, the noise they produce, the propels, the engine in the water, the sound waves they travel super fast in the water. We don't know if it's like a long-term issues.
In Sri Lanka, like in Mirissa, the whales aren't, like, they're always there. They're not leaving and coming back or moving. Is that because of the whale watching, or is that because of something else?
No, something else. They stay there because for food. Okay, it's important to know that animals migrate to different places for two main reasons: to find a mate and to find some food. In this case, a really good friend, one of my best friends, Sofia, she works with blue whales, and she said to me, like, Eric, that population stayed right there. They don't migrate to different places because they have enough food, okay? So basically, the blue whales need to eat constantly all the time, because if they don't eat, they're going to starve and they're going to die, okay? Because can you imagine super large animals? They need to eat constantly because they only eat like small crustaceans, okay? So basically, maybe they found in this place large amounts of food. That's why they moved to different places.
From your personal perspective and your perspective as a marine biologist, do you think whale watching or whale tourism is ethical or no?
I think it's ethical if we follow the guidelines all the time. But if we don't do really good practices in the water, it starts to be not ethical. Yeah, I'm okay with the whale watching, but only if we do the whale watching according to a management plan. Ecotourism is so profit right now.
Yeah.
Especially for the people. It's like a solution to the overfishing. And in Sri Lanka, and I saw the boats, the huge vessels, the 50 vessels around the blue whale. That is disturbing for the whale. It's not ethical to do this. But why do people do this? Because I work in tourism. I understand them. It's all about money.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I know, because it's the same in Mexico, the same in La Paz. I have a guideline that I show to my guests all the time. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah.
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 This is a well, okay, and that's the distance that you have to be according to the size of your vessel. So small vessels can be closer, and big vessels they can't be closer. They need to be far away from the well.
First tour that we went to do, it was like swimming with the whales, but we just didn't get close enough, so we weren't able to. But it was sold to us as whale watching and swimming with the whales. Do you think swimming with the whales is ethical?
I don't think it's about ethical or not ethical. It's about your safety. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're swimming with an animal that the weight is like 5, 10, 20 tons. Sometimes you just want to arrive to this place and I want to see a whale. I want to touch the dolphin. I want to see a turtle all the time. But you don't really know what is the impact that you're doing when you're doing these activities. Or you don't know the impact that you are putting in this community when you leave. So I recommend to all the people that they want to travel to different places, they really they need to get a lot of information at the place that they're visiting.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You're the best.
It's always a pleasure to see you, my friends.
Yeah.
I have like 2 years, right? 2 years. A lot of time. Yeah.
We miss you.
We'll come back and see you. 100%.
Yeah, it's a lot of time.
Hashtag no bad days in
Yeah, you
Baja.
have to. Yeah. Hashtag no bad days in Baja. Of course, all the time.
Thanks a lot,
you, my
Eric,
friend.
man.
Thank you,
For the interview.
Eric.
Miss you.
Miss you. Bye.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope we shed some light on this topic that we didn't know anything about before we came here.
Yeah, and please share all of your comments and your thoughts and even questions that you may have for Eric. Share them down below with us.
Yeah, we promise we'll get back to you, and we just hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you want to not just see our whale watching experiences in more depth, but also watch our entire epic travel series in Sri Lanka, head over to our channel and watch all of our other past series as well. We have plenty of content for you to get into, and yeah, we just want to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in the next Bite Size.
Bye.
Bye.
We would also like to take this opportunity to thank our amazing long-term sponsor on this channel in Skillshare. Skillshare is an amazing online learning community for creators with more than 25,000 classes in design, business, and much more. And if you use our link in the description below, you can get yourself a free trial for 2 months. So you can get access to all of their amazing courses and start leveling up your abilities in pretty much anything that you want to for free for 2 whole months. And if you'd like to continue, Skillshare is also super affordable as an annual subscription is less than $10 a month. So join more than 7 million other creators learning with Skillshare. We especially like Matty Brown's course on low budget filmmaking. And we took lots of cool tips about in-camera effects and simple tricks you can do in the editing process that can help make cheap camera gear appear high level and professional. So thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring Bitesize, and we will see you very soon.